Should I do it with the sock on or sock off? Sock off. This is the latest from SE, and it's called the Dynacaster. Now, for full disclosure, I did receive this from SE for the purpose of this review, and I get to keep it. But the review is my own, and they have no say in the content of this video. This is SE's version of a broadcast dynamic microphone, though it does have some tricks up its sleeve to try to set it apart from the other options. Now, it rocks a price of $299, and as usual, there's links down below if you want to check it out. This thing boasts a couple of things that set it apart from the rest of the field. First off, it has an EQ option on the back to allow for multiple profiles. While that's nothing new, the SM7B has been sporting that for years. This one goes a bit more in depth and has a lot more versatility to it. Now, we're going to go through all of those in a bit to give you an idea of what they sound like. And of course, you have that middle button, which is a mic activator. That triggers the Dynamite preamp for an additional 30 dB of gain, which means anyone can drive this mic regardless of your interface. As long as you have 48 volts of phantom power, you're good to go. Now, of course, the microphone does also work without the preamp, and we're going to look into how that sounds both on and off in a few. This is a full-on cool microphone build and as much of a statement piece like the SM7B or the RE20. The body of the microphone is solid. It's all metal construction. The mic does come apart in two ways. You can unscrew the top pop filter, which is rather chunky, let's be honest, or you can take the whole barrel off, which is pretty cool if you're capturing something you need that capsule up close and personal, like an amplifier. And perhaps the one fly in the ointment here. Now, I get why they put the XLR port here, and they gave it just enough room for it to fit on the Rode boom. There may be some connection issues with different boom arms. I just want you to keep that in mind. All in all, though, this thing is one of the best looking mics I've ever used. This is a dynamic cardioid mic with an activator. It's 20 Hz to 19 kHz. There is that 30 dB gain boost if you have phantom. And the sensitivity is kind of all over the place on this thing. This is what was posted online. Now for the off-axis rejection of the SE Dynacaster. This is me speaking directly into the capsule from about 4 inches away. Now I'm speaking into the side of the capsule from about 4 inches away. Now I'm speaking into the rear of the capsule from, well, the rear of the capsule. Now for the plosive rejection test of the SE Dynacaster. And this one's going to be interesting because there's a lot of plosive protection here. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And now one with the sock. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Now for the proximity effect test of the SE Dynacaster. Here I'm speaking about 4 inches off the front of the capsule. Now I'm about 1 inch off the front of the capsule. 4 inches, 1 inch.
Hi, my name's Marianne, and Aiden told me this is the what?
SE Dynacaster.
The SE Dynacaster. So I'm just testing this out. But what's interesting is I'm actually a voiceover artist. So hopefully this actually helps you. If you're a woman who's watching this, hopefully this helps you maybe get a better grasp on what a woman's voice would sound like on this. And I'm also going to give a plug for my voiceover business. Can I do that? Yeah. IvisonVoice.com. Is this enough testing? Do you want me to sing a song? Do you want me what do you need from me? I do not want to I do not want to sing a song. There will be a link in the description for my voiceover. I don't know which way to point for that because I don't do YouTube very often. Down.
Now for handling noise, some of the vibrations coming through the table. What do you think? I can't hear this. I can actually see it coming through. Now let's take a look at the sound of the activator on this microphone. Right now I'm speaking into the microphone with the activator enabled. Now I've basically switched it up and this is running at about 9 o'clock on the gain dial. And this is the difference in sound. And this is with the activator on. Once again, activator on, activator off. Do you notice much of a difference? Now let's take a look if there's any sound being introduced when I gain up with the activator on. Remember, this is 30 dB a gain. It's quite a bit. Now let's just cycle through some of the EQ profiles on the SE Dynacaster really quick. This is with the SE Dynacaster flat. And this is how it sounds. Let's just start with the bass boost. This is the SE Dynacaster with the bass boosted up. Nothing else. What do you think of the sound? Now, this is the SE Dynacaster with the bass rolled off. There are no actual specs on exactly what the roll-off is on this. I'm going to guess about 150. I do notice a bit of my voice disappearing when the roll-off's enacted, but as well, a lot of that low rumble should be rolled off as well. Now we have the SE Dynacaster with the high end, or the high frequencies, boosted. Now this should give it a little bit more airiness, a little more crispiness. What do you think? Everything else is flat. Now we've rolled off that high end, and this is what it sounds like. I can't see this being a huge thing for voice, but I can see this being something if you're miking an instrument with this microphone. Now we have both the bass boost and the high frequency boost on the SE Dynacaster. What do you think of the sound with these boosted? Let me know down below. Now we're putting the SE Dynacaster up against the RE20. What do you think of the difference between these two microphones? This one is only $299. I believe this one's $499. I'll correct myself up here if I'm wrong. What do you think of the difference between these two? Now we have both the bass and the high end boosted on the SE Dynacaster. And as I go between the RE20 and the Dynacaster, which one do you like? This is a really impressive showing from the SE Dynacaster, I've got to say. Now we have the SM7B taking on the SE Dynacaster. What do you think as I go between these two microphones? Now, to start this off, the EQ on the Dynacaster is flat. So is the SM7B. I'm not going to play with the SM7B a bit, but one of the things I wanted to bring up is when I first got this microphone, I plugged it in and I was listening to it and I didn't realize that the bass boost was actually boosted. And I thought, man, that sounds a lot like an SM7B. So let's do that again and see how these two perform side by side. Now we have the bass boost on the SE Dynacaster, and this is the original SM7B sound with a flat EQ. What do you think between the two of them? It's pretty close, right? Now we have the EQ set to a high shelf on the high frequencies. And now we're going between the SE Dynacaster and the SM7B. What do you think as I cycle through them? What do you think when I go back and forth? Do you like the SE Dynacaster or do you like the SM7B? Where to start with this thing? First up is versatility. The EQ on the back may help you dial it in for whatever you're miking up. And the internal mic activator is a massive plus for any streamers that don't want to upgrade their setup for an SM7B. As for the cons, I did notice a bit of noise that was added to the audio when I gained up with the activator in. Something that you might want to be careful with because 30 dBs is a lot of gain. And with that kind of power, well, you know. You don't really need that much gain when you have the activator turned on. But I will say when you're miking a quiet source, you might want to be wary about how much of the room this microphone picks up when it's on. And of course that XLR port, and I understand that it's something that couldn't have been fixed, and it does at least offer the same mobility as the SM7B. So is that a drawback? Is that a con? I don't know. One other thing, and this is super nitpicky, but the knob to tighten down the mic is rather hard to access for my fat fingers. So if you have stubbies like mine, well, good luck with that. I really do like this microphone. It's a hell of an offering from SE and at a much reduced price compared to the mics that it's taking on. Now, considering it's $100 cheaper than the SM7B, and it comes with the activator inside already, as well as the upgrade on EQ over the SM7B, this might make that extra $100 look kind of silly to spend. Of course, it really does come down to sound. And personally, I like the sound of this microphone on me. I enjoyed it on both the acoustic as well as the electric. And if you add that sleek design and the uniqueness of it all, this is a fantastic option for that upgrade that you've been saving up for. I'm really happy. I will say, be careful with the mic activator. Be careful with the gain on it, because you can get some pretty awful sounding audio when you're gained up too high. But other than that, let me know what you think of the mic down below. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.